Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So here today with Cayenne. He's an Icelandic cross. He's crossed with single footers. And so I'm going to show you him outside the arena. He's a young horse, so we've just been working on his flat walk. But today we might try a little bit of the saddle gait. Again, the arena is all mushy. Hi, buddy. So it's a little hard to work in there, and I know some of you don't have arenas, so I'm just going to ride back and forth. Stay. So many horses don't stand well. So just get on and stand. Check your equipment. Just relax. They have to learn just to kind of stand here. So, all right, good boy. So with Cayenne, when he's loose and when he comes out of gate, he goes into a trot. When he's running around, sometimes he will gait a little bit, but it's mostly trot or canter. And I ran him around first. I did a little lunging, but you'll see he still just has a little anxiety to him, like, what's going on here? And I've been having him just in a snaffle, but now that I'm outside, it's rainy and cool. This is the bridle he came in with the Brenda Imus bit, so I'm using it just in case I need a little bit more control. So you'll see he's kind of walking out, and that's okay. I don't want him to run, but you don't want to hold him back too much either. In the beginning, trying to get him to walk, this is a new thing for him, riding up and down this. And so I know that he might have a little anxiety, and that's what he's doing. He's walking a little fast. And here and there the stone's bothering him a little bit. So all we're going to do is just walk back and forth. It just takes some time for them to figure out, oh, this is what we're doing today. So if they're not crazy, don't give up. Just keep repeating it until they kind of settle down, and they usually will in time. Like when I walk around the barn, the first time most of them are spooky. The second time I make the loop, they're better. The third time it's better. The fourth, they don't care anymore. But the first time can be quite scary for him, so you have to repeat it. So he's a little distracted. He's a little tense, so you saw his head kind of being up, and his back felt a little bit tense. So what I'm trying to do is just get him to relax and walk out. In the arena, when I videotaped his flat walk, it wasn't very fast because the footing was deep in there. And so the footing was a little deep. He's trotty, so it was making it harder on him, so I had to stay slower. So usually you can go a lot faster when you're going out on the trail or around the barn or down the road, especially with the trotty one. See now that he settled down? What a big difference that was, just a couple times back and forth. But stay relaxed, and you saw I wasn't clamping down on him or anything. So the hard road is going to help your trotty ones. When you're shoeing them, if you're putting shoes just on the front, that's going to make the trotty ones trot more, okay? Trotty ones do better with more weight on the back. That's why sometimes you'll see when people are training them, I don't do this, but I know a lot of people do, so it's good for you to know, is they just put shoes on the back and not on the front, because they're trying to train that horse how to use his back end, and then in time they usually put shoes on the horse all the way around. So again, you can use those things to try to muscle them up. You're trying not to depend on those things if you do it. So pacey, they usually put more weight and longer foot in the front. Trotty, they put more weight on their back foot and a longer foot in the back. Or if your horse arrived like that, you know why now. So all I'm trying to do is just get him to follow a straight line, to pay attention. Again, he's young, so he's a lot of reasons not to pay attention. They got baby brain, okay? They're not as focused. And when he first came, he was a bit trippy. It might have been because his feet were a little long, or he wasn't used to poles, or, you know, just not used to me. And our arena probably is not as nice as his owner's arena. So it can be all those reasons. But I took him over poles and lunged him and worked him in there, and now he's quite good. Those poles make a big difference in them finding their feet and muscling up. But any horse like this, where it's young, is going to go through just checking to make sure the camera's following because it didn't so much with Betty, is you're trying to make sure they have time to grow, that you're working them but not overworking them. You're not doing anything crazy that's going to ruin their neck or their back in time. Okay? See him trip? No big deal. He's a baby. And he was looking at Betty, his older girlfriend over there, and our footing is not even, so he misjudged it. It's normal. How many times do you see kids fall, or puppies, or baby cats run into stuff because they misjudge things? That's how young horses are. They misjudge until they figure it out. All right, so we're going to slowly start going faster. I'm just alternating my legs. You'll see his head kind of coming up and down. We don't want that, and we don't want him to trip. Now that I said he doesn't trip anymore, see what they do? Everything I say they don't do. So we got to make sure he's paying attention. He's following a straight line. And you saw when he tripped, I just stayed back and kept him going. So there, he's changing his gait because he gets a little excited. He's looking at these horses over on the left. So I'm going to sit back in my turn, not making it too small, and then slowly increase the speed. Now, even though there's no sand or anything else on this footing, it does go up and down. And some of these horses at times, especially when they're lateral or towards the pace, which he has some in them, will not pick their foot up as much, and they'll catch something. That's okay. And again, he's still got the longer foot, not on purpose. I'd like to get his front feet shorter, which would help him. Okay. So we're slowly just trying to increase his speed, but this is already faster than what I had yesterday in the arena. And if I wasn't turning around, you might pay more attention. This is the bumpiest part where he keeps tripping, is if I was able just to ride around the barn, but you can't follow me with the camera, it'd be much better because it would be continuous and I wouldn't have to keep stopping and turning, and then he loses his focus. Okay, so this is his flat walk. When you're working with young horses, lots of people don't get this. This is one of the most important things, is just get their flat walk, which is a fast walk, because it's the start of the rest of their gaits. It's your foundation. And when you ride with different people, you need to go different speeds. It's not just walk or super fast. So you want all those in between speeds to help you so you're able to ride with different people. Now, he bulges out a lot on the turns, but again, that's a normal baby thing. He needs to learn not to drift. And you might have seen me doing that flower pattern with him. I can't remember if I videotaped it, but that's very helpful, is that flower pattern. Now I'm doing just a little shoulder in, not much because he keeps tripping out of here and I don't want to add too much to him. With younger horses, I might frame them up some. I don't frame them up a lot. They're still growing, so it's not so much I need to make a pretty picture with this horse. We just need to get him paying attention, be smooth and safe, and then over time we can set his head more so it looks prettier. But don't over-frame them or over-collect them when they're young. It's hard on them, and they're still growing. So there's things going on over in the farmland over there that he keeps looking to. And let's switch our stick to the left. So his sister Betty drifts to the right, and he drifts to the left. So you have to change for horse, and it usually takes me a minute, like, oh yeah, he drifts left. So whichever side they drift, that's where I carry my stick usually. If they don't drift at all, then it's usually my inside hand if they're in the arena. Now notice every time I get down here, he gets a little antsy. Okay? So in time, hopefully that'll be better. But again, this is his first time out, so if it's not, I don't care so much. So a little shoulder in. He's speeding up, so half halt. Remember, they don't know what speed to go, so you have to keep half halting and using your leg till they keep the speed you want. And in the beginning, you have to do that over and over again. Most of us who do this all the time don't even realize we're doing it because it's natural for us, just like driving a car. You're always looking around. You're always putting on your blinkers, turning the wheel, and using the gas and the brake. It just becomes natural, where then you can multitask like this, like I'm talking. He can't multitask. That's why he keeps tripping. But and then becomes easy. Now there, that was a big trip. It was a bigger bump, but I'm like, you need to wake up because you just keep tripping. And instead of spacing out, how about I get your attention back? Now, I'm not mad or anything. I'm just doing something more because his attention span is not helping me. And he's very smart, but young and a little goofy. So any of those tripping horses, they usually, when nothing's wrong with them, they usually trip when they're going slow and bored because they're able to look around. As you go faster, they don't trip so much. So let's work on his saddle gait and see if he wakes up a little bit. And you can do that with your horse and then come back to the walk, and they're usually more awake and not so goofy. So for his saddle gait, since we know he's trotty, I don't want his head too low. See how he still does stuff with his head? That's going to take a while. I don't want his head too low. I want to pick it up, kind of sit back, and then add my leg. Now he just tripped, didn't he? So I got to support him in the beginning. He's trotting. And all I'm trying to do is hold him straight and keep him in this gait slow. So he was bought also as a speed racker, so he could go rack fast. He just couldn't rack slow and pay attention. So what we want to do is get the footfall. I'm going to slow him down because he's being so goofy. And get the footfall and then do it slowly back and forth and then go faster and faster over time depending on his ability. So I set him up by sitting back, keeping his head up, add both legs, but then I'm holding him here. He's a little trotty, so I'm seeing if he figures it out. He's a little crooked, so you saw me wave the stick. He's throwing his head, so I'm just holding. Now I'm releasing because now his head's straight. Now he keeps getting trotty, so that's okay. I just slowed it down and picked his head up more. So this is the hard part when we're coming from hunter, jumper, dressage. The last thing we want to do is pick those horses' heads up, right? But if you have a trotty one, see how I'm being careful now because he keeps tripping. I'm like, pay attention, dude. You have to kind of invert them a little bit to get that tension, and then once they get the footfall, then in time we can put their head more on the vertical. But sometimes if they're just very, very trotty, you can never bring it down like a quarter horse. You can. You just won't gait, or you'll do a foxtrot instead. So comfortable gait, not very fast at all, but safer this way since he's being a little goofy. Okay, so now I'm going to walk and we'll turn around up here. And this also gives him a break. So the hard part with young ones is they're klutzy. Not all of them. Some, like Casper, are well built together, but this guy, you can just tell from looking at him, he's probably got 4 more years to grow. He's got a long way to grow. And that's right, some of these gaited horses grow till they're like 7 to 9. So see him get trotty, and I just picked him up. Now he picks his knees up much higher when he starts gaiting. He's still kind of in between the foxtrot and the saddle gait, but that's okay. A lot of them will. It's when they go slower that they're lazy and put those feet down. So, also, if you're buying a speed racker, ask them for videos of their slower gaits, because if you want to ride slower, they might not know how to. So it would be good to know that ahead of time so you get someone to help you. So see, I'm tucking my butt way underneath me. He's throwing his head. I'm not even looking at it. I'm just focusing on straight, and he keeps drifting left. And I'm holding him because he needs help. If I let go of these reins, at this point, he's going to fall out of gait. He's a baby. He's learning. He doesn't know what I want. So why would I expect him to stay in that gait once I put him in it if he doesn't do it when he's loose? No, he's going to go to the lazy thing, and that's to trotting. So again, your horse has its own lazy thing. It's either trots, paces, or it might trip. But that's what you're trying to figure out and then ride it to help it. So with him, I got to keep half holding and kind of, you'll see me pick my hands up like that. I don't hold them up like this, but I'm picking them up. And it's slowly getting there. But again, you'll see he's still a little bit on the trotty side. So let me say again what I did before. This is his first time out here. I'm not expecting greatness. I'm just trying to keep him on his feet so he doesn't fall on his face, steer him, and start doing some of this saddle gait. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It does have to stay on his feet, though. So that's pretty good. His head's going up and down, but that's besides the point. Okay, so we might just do one more. Now, when he came out, he might have looked a little funny because he was throwing his head and doing all sorts of stuff, and a lot of you will be like, he's lame, something's wrong with him. He's throwing his head, he was gimping, blah, blah. He is on gravel. He's got to get used to moving on it. He was also screwing around. And yes, they can be sore on gravel as well, but you'll see he's gotten better each time around. If they're lame, they don't get better, they get worse. Unless they're old and just stiff. And like I said, he's a baby. So hold straight. He's constantly going left. So when he does that trotty, I sit back more, pick his head up more. Good boy. Now again, the hard part with young ones is they don't need a lot of drilling on them. They're learning, they need a lot of breaks, and they need time to grow. So it's better to go slow, get it all on them, give them time. If they're having problems, even give them a week or two off to just let them grow. But when you see those 2-year-olds and they're flying down the road and doing all that stuff, just remember, he's not fully grown, and the harder you push them at that young age, the more problems you might have as they're older. So now we're just going to practice backing up and doing some other things. So you got to be careful how hard you push them. Would I take a 2-year-old on a 6-hour trail ride? I wouldn't, but lots of people do, and lots of people sell them. This 2-year-old has tons of mileage. That would make me worry, because that means they did ride the heck out of them, and it's usually a big man that's on them, and that's a lot of weight on their spine, and that might be why then they have spine problems later on. So you got to be a little careful when you're doing those things. Okay. So I'm practicing his back up. It's much better than it was. Oh. And you want to be able to do these things everywhere. He's even though he can get crooked, he's straighter than Betty was. Now when I stop, you got to make sure they stop straight, because see his butt going to the left? The only way I make it stronger is to get it up underneath him. So we'll give him a break for a minute, and then we're going to do our turn on the forehands. So do everything out here that you do in there, and everything you do there and there, do out there on the trail. So you make a more consistent horse, one that will listen to you no matter where he is. But say I back up here, and I never back up on trail, and one day we have to back up, and he does it horrible, I'd be like, serves me right, because I never practiced it. You have to practice this stuff everywhere. All right, so now we're going to go to the right. Now sometimes they'll anticipate like he is, but he's doing the wrong maneuver. He's moving his front end instead of his back end. So when they do that, and he just starts moving, you can try to hold him, but a lot of times they won't, so you just go into your movement. Just be like, okay, whatever, I don't care. So he's not listening, and so I'm tapping him with my stick. So this stick makes a big difference in him learning to ignore me and just look around and do what he wants versus him listening to me. So not very good, was it? I don't think so. But that was okay for the first time out here. He's never done that before. So let's try it again, because we're not going to gate anymore. So right rein, right leg, left rein, hold, stick when he's not listening. And he's a little bit on a slant. And he's like, I can't do this. And I was like, yes, you can. You might not be able to gate on it because you kept tripping, but I know you can turn in a circle. This horse is very athletic when he's loose. So I know what he's got. It's just him balancing me and balancing himself is different, and him paying attention. Because him tripping by himself, no big deal. But him tripping with me is a big deal. Good boy. So I like to do this stuff on uneven surfaces because that's what happens out on trail. Now, do you notice going to the left, this is better? Like I say with all of it, most of the horses do stuff better to the left because nobody works on their right. So that is normal, but that means you have to work the right side more. So that was pretty good. Now we'll try maybe just a little side pass out here, and he does not know it very well at all. So first I'm going to turn his hindquarter off of my right leg. See, I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking to help balance myself. Now I'm going to try and go that way, and he might not do it very well at all. That's frustration. He's like, Gaye, they told me you were going to annoy me. So I just keep it up. See him kick out? Now, if they're really not getting it, it's okay. I'm just like, well, let's go forward for a minute. I'm going to spin you around a little bit. See how he's not paying attention? You try to get their back end moving, and then you kind of slide it. There you go. So if I get stuck and they start fighting with me, and he's crooked, I know that, but he's just learning how to side pass. I've never done it out here. The first time was in the arena just the other day. So if they get stuck, just get their feet moving and then try to spin them around and kind of drift into your side pass helps a lot. So let's try to move him over again. See if he's smart, so sometimes he figures stuff out. He's not getting it. Lean back when you turn, so in case they trip. And go over. Good boy. Now again, when they're young, or it's a mare, you're going to have some temper tantrums. It's normal. They're just like, can you make me do it? I don't think so. And a lot of people are like, nope, can't make you do it. Just outthink them. Think of different ways to do it. Get your point across, and then quit when they're good. So let's ask them to go sideways again. Almost. Nope. So closer than he was the first time. He's getting it. He just doesn't have it today, but he might have it tomorrow. Now that time he didn't really drift into it. We got stuck afterwards. There we go. So he just moved his butt over. He didn't move his whole area over, but that's okay. It's a start. Remember, you're rewarding the try. I don't expect him to side pass perfectly. Most of the time you have to do it in front of a fence or with a pole in front of you, and we're doing it with nothing here. So he's quite good. So we give him a little break, and then we're going to try the other direction, which it might totally confuse him. So you saw I just do it maybe 3 times that way, and then we'll go 3 times the other way. Now again, off the left, he might be much better or worse. There we go. We got 1 step. That's all I need. Don't do 5 steps. Good job, Cayenne. Good boy. So this way, he's got it. Lots of people just teach him 1 leg sideways, 1 leg forward. So they're very confused. Get the whole foundation of training that 1 leg moves sideways either direction, because you're going to have to open gates either direction. Good boy. Now again, not good, but not horrible either. Good job. So you accept a lot in the beginning when you're first doing those things, and then over time you make it better and better. But don't go for perfection the first day. That's how you mess these horses up. Good boy. So for his first day out here, I think he did quite well. His gait was not great, but that's the first time we've gone faster into his saddle gait versus his flat walk. They're all gaits. Even the pace and the trot are gaits, but I'm talking about his saddle gait. And again, he might be able to do it a lot faster, but we want him to do it slower and then go faster and faster over time. I also loosen the girth immediately when I get off as a reward. So overall, I think he did really well, and that's it. Better to do too little than too much with the young ones. Right? You're a goofy guy. And that's Cayenne.